Guitar tips, just the tips, just for you. Guitar tips. Hello and welcome to Guitar Tips. My name is Adam Levy. This is my video blog series that I do, just the tips, just for you. This is, let's see, you may notice that I'm not posting here weekly as I once did. If you want weekly tips, you can find those at Guitar Tips Pro. There's a link down below here, or you could just type into your browser search window thing there, guitartipspro.com, and there you are. So, why would you do that? You could hang out here in Guitar Tips forever and get free stuff, and who doesn't like free stuff? But if you go to Guitar Tips Pro, the level of content that you get, both in terms of quality and quantity, is much, much higher. The tips are, more extended. Whatever topic I'm talking about, I go more in depth. You can get MP3s of some of the examples I'm playing, PDFs with notation and tab. I create monthly playlists of all the stuff I'm listening to that's inspiring me and that I hope will inspire you. Guest tips from incredible players like Doug Womble and Mason Stoops and Emily Elbert. If you want at the highest level at Guitar Tips Pro, there's different levels you can support at. You can do video swap lessons with me, which is, each month you send me a short question video where you want to show me something you're working on and ask for my help on a specific thing. There's also, you have access to full-length Skype lessons. You can get one of those per year at the upper level. In other words, there's just way more going on. So, and it's a paid thing, but it's a very inexpensive paid thing. You can join for as little as $5 a month. And if you think about what guitar lessons would cost with me or someone like me in person, you can do the math, and that is a tiny little fraction, $5 a month. I don't think you can get guitar lessons with anybody for $5 a month. And if you're willing to support at a higher level, you get not just the basic content, but all the other stuff that I just outlined. So there's a lot of stuff available to you at a tiny fraction of what it would cost to study with me in person. And so just think about it. It's there. There's a link down below, Guitar Tips Pro. You can just type guitartipspro.com into your browser, and there you are. You can sign up. So this week's tip I wanted to mention. This is something that somebody asked me about, and it seems like a good thing to talk about, is how to put harmony in motion. Let's say you're playing on a tune and the chord is D minor 7. And when you watch really great jazz guitar players play, they might be playing a tune that you're familiar with, or that you can look up in the real book if you're not familiar with it, and you look in the real book and it just says, 4 bars of D minor 7, and the guitar players are doing all this stuff, they're moving all over the place, and you're wondering, what is that? What are they doing? How do you take D minor 7 and set it in motion? So I just wanted to give you, of course there's many ways to do that, but just one kind of thing that you can work on to develop a vocabulary of setting harmony in motion is a 2-to-1 melody to chord exercise. And I'll just show you this. So D minor 7. Let's start with this voicing. And I'm doing it with a double stop here. If you don't like double stops, you can certainly do it with 4 fingers. So I'm playing C, F, A, D. So on the middle 4 strings, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. And the next voicing, if we just start by looking at voicings before we get to melody, if we move this up the neck, that's the next voicing. Why is that the next voicing? Well, because D minor 7 is just 4 notes. It's D, F, A, C. That's the root, the minor 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 7 there. Okay. So in this voicing, if we just move each note up 1 from where we were, C goes up to D, F goes up to A goes up to C, and D goes up to F. So we get from here to here. You could call this the 3rd inversion, root position because it's got the root on the bottom. The next one is the 1st inversion with the 3rd on the bottom. When you've got the 3rd on the bottom, that's 1st inversion. And again, we just moved up each note, goes up, and then finally to here, which might make more sense to play here, just because it's easier to grab. This is a 12-fret guitar. You may have access to more frets on your guitar depending on what you're playing. So now I'm on the high 4 strings, 7, 7, 6, 8. Okay, so those are the inversions of the chord. So just right off the bat, that gives you something to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you add a little bit of chromatic sliding around, you can get 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty cool right there, just moving those inversions around. But if you want to really get into some musical depth, here's the 2-to-1 melody to chord thing that I mentioned. Here's what it is. So for each chord voicing, we're going to have 2 melody notes. You see what I mean? So here's this chord, we have these 2. And then this chord, we have this, and we keep going. So we're just going up the D Dorian scale. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and stop there because I run out of neck. Why Dorian? Why is Dorian the right scale to play for D minor 7? There's other choices that you could make, but that's the kind of straight up the middle choice. This chord is part of that scale. And when you're listening to jazz, that's just a nice scale choice. It's got all those notes and a couple other colorful tones. It's got the 9 in it, it's got the 11, and it's got the 13. So if you think of the chord this way, it's D minor 7, 9, 11, 13. If you think of it as a scale, it's D Dorian, right? So chord voicing, the melody moves twice, and you can come back down. And of course, you don't have to start here. You could start in the middle, or here. Whatever you're hearing, it's just I'm starting low and going high, but you could make of it what you like. So I started on a chord tone. That's D. D is part of the D minor 7. You could also start on a non-chord tone like E. It's in the scale, but it's not in the chord. So something different happens there. If you start on a chord tone, for the beginning, you've got chord tone, passing tone, chord tone, passing tone, chord tone on top, passing tone, chord tone, passing tone, and you have to go all the way up to here before you get a color tone on top. That's the 9, so suddenly it's more colorful. If you start down here, the opposite will happen. You'll get color tones in the beginning as you go up. So 9, 11. Let's see how that would work here. Yeah, 13 on top. So I'm thinking about this D minor 7, but just following the scale, so it happens to be on B there. And now finally we're on a chord tone. So we started with color. Now we're back in kind of safer sounds. So just think about that. If you start with scale, if you start with chord tones, like you start on the root, wherever you it's a matter of how soon you want to get to color versus how much you want to just outline the chord. But overall, what's important more than those harmonic choices is melodic choices. What is the melody that you want to play? And whatever it is, think about the melody first. Find a little melodic thing that you want to play. Maybe you want to play this. Excuse me. Maybe that's all you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2. If you start with a chord tone on top, that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. So I did D minor 7, and then I wanted to get to here. So this is a chord tone. This is a chord tone. C and A. I just use this as a passing note. So you could grab that from the first shape, or you could grab it from the second shape. Other, let's see, how else could you do that? So, well, if that's your melodic choice, that's what you've got. That's what you can do. You put a D minor 7 under that, and with this non-chord tone, you can either grab it from the chord that you're already playing or from the one you're going to. If the melody you hear goes like this, I'm just making this up as I go along here. If your melody goes, so you could go, so I'm thinking about, I have to grab this from a chord voicing that already we use, so, or you could grab it from here, depends on if you want to grab it from the lower sound and go up, or think about it from here and come up into it. And that's just the D minor 7 voicing, but with that melody on top. Does this make sense? I hope it makes sense. The big idea here is putting harmony in motion and not thinking of harmony as these kind of fixed blocks that you can't turn into real music. Okay? So that is Guitar Tips for now. I'm Adam Levy. Stay tuned, take good care, and join Guitar Tips Pro. Won't you?